What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here. Today we're gonna find out if you actually need a brand name on your barbell or bumper plates. So today we're gonna be taking a look at this barbell and bumper plate setup sent to me by Living.Fit. They did send it all out to me for a review, but I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on whether or not I think the equipment is good and whether I think you really need a brand name on your home gym equipment or even your affiliate gym equipment. Now, I'm somebody that has barbells that cost up to $1,200. I've got full-on IWF spec competition bumper plates, but I can't deny a good value. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there that are watching this video are kind of on that same page. When it comes to just getting the job done at your home gym or servicing a bunch of people at your affiliate gym or whatever gym that you own, I think a lot of people are really looking for bang for your buck. And that's where I think the Living.Fit set actually does a pretty good job with. Now, a lot of the specs that are on this equipment are gonna sound pretty generic, and that's just the reality of gym equipment nowadays, where you can just go on Walmart or on Amazon, punch in barbell or bumper plates, and it's gonna yield a ton of different things that kind of all look the same. And knowing whether or not things are good is kind of tough to do. So without further ado, let's talk about the Living.Fit Barbell. So when taking a look at the barbell, you have a couple different options in terms of coating. This is the Cerakote version. It does have QPQ coating on the sleeves, but there's only the option to get this barbell in black, which is a little bit disappointing considering that there's a lot of Cerakote barbells on the market that you can get different colored options with. If that didn't bother you, then black is always tried and true. You also have the option to get this barbell in hard chrome, which is fully chromed out from the sleeves to the shaft. And there's probably no difference in terms of the actual barbell itself. But I will say, if you're somebody that sweats a little bit more or you live in a humid environment, then I would recommend getting the Cerakote option because the Cerakote is a little bit more matte in finish versus chrome, which is typically a little bit more slick, and then when you get some sweat on it, then it becomes really slick. Plus, chrome has the tendency to want to rust, especially in humid environments, where Cerakote is gonna hold up a little bit better in terms of corrosion. Now, if we're looking at scratch resistance, that's where the chrome is gonna be better than Cerakote. Cerakote is not the greatest in terms of chipping and scratching. If you catch your J-hook, you're for sure gonna chip your Cerakote coating. Now, the shaft is a 28mm diameter shaft, which is kind of like the weightlifting standard. It's typically gonna be good for CrossFit, for weightlifting. It's not necessarily always the best for powerlifting, but depending on the weights that you're doing, it's definitely gonna be usable. The shaft is 200K PSI tensile strength, so it's not gonna bend under any kind of normal usage, including just like drops if you're using it for a CrossFit workout. Now, it does have a lifetime warranty, but the lifetime warranty, I'm sure, like other brands, does not cover dropping the barbell on pins or spotter arms. The actual whip of the barbell is pretty good. In the weights that I've been doing with this barbell, I felt like this bar was actually pretty fun to use. Certain bars like this have been known to be a little bit more on the stiff side, but this one feels generally comfortable to use. It doesn't ever feel like it smashes you into the ground. Plus, the whip that you get out of it for doing like jerks and stuff like that feels actually pretty reactive. So when it comes to knurling, a lot of things really become subjective. What you're gonna use the barbell for, whether it's like CrossFit, powerlifting, weightlifting, if you have baby soft hands, if you have really calloused hands, it all just comes down to your own personal preference. Now, the knurling on this bar is 1.2 millimeters deep. So it's got a lighter cut of knurling. It's a more fine cut. It's not super chunky or anything like that. And it's kind of like a cross between a volcano type knurling and a hill type knurling. The divot on top isn't super prominent, and it's maybe a little bit more on the hill type knurling side. I found that it was pretty comfortable, and paired with the more matte coating, It's actually pretty grippy. You don't need a whole lot of chalk to use this barbell, but in the sweatiest of gym sessions, you're definitely going to want to chalk up for the best grip. Now, I use this barbell for CrossFit, so I'm doing a ton of reps. I've also used it for weightlifting, and my hands have not ripped from using it just yet. It also does have two markings if you wanted to use it for powerlifting movements as well. You've got your powerlifting mark and then you've got your weightlifting mark, and they're both cut really well. I would say that this cut of knurling is a pretty general, safe style cut of knurling. I think it's more on the safer side. If people didn't like a more aggressive cut, you're probably gonna like this cut. But if you liked a more aggressive knurling, then this is probably not gonna be the bar for you. All right, so now on to the sleeves. So like I mentioned before, we have a Cerakote coating on the shaft, but the sleeves have a QPQ coating. That does not hold up very well at all. I've never been a fan of QPQ coatings because they just show wear almost instantly, and that's not something that's unique to QPQ. Pretty much any black coating on the sleeves will show wear very fast. And this is for me just using bumper plates. If you were to use steel plates, which I don't even think Living.Fit even sells, so it's not an option, steel plates would wreck this even more. So keep that in mind if you're getting something like metal change plates. The actual bearings inside of the sleeves though are excellent. This bar uses 8 needle bearings throughout, so 4 per sleeve, and then you have pressed in bushings to retain those bearings. The spin on this bar is very uniform. It's very, very fast. As you can tell, I barely even spun this and it's still going. And I think that if there was any reason to buy this barbell, it's because the spin is really good. The sleeves are slightly ribbed, so they do retain the bumper plates on okay, but I would for sure recommend using collars when you're using bumper plates or plates with this barbell. Now, they did send me their collars, which are kind of like in the style of the HG collars, and right now they work pretty well. They're like the little clip-on style, but over time I don't expect these to hold up. They just never really do. But if there's something that's included in the set, then you could probably use these for a good amount of time before they die out on you. All right, so the bumper plates. Once again, kind of generic, obviously considering what we're taking a look at and the price points, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The design of these is pretty reminiscent of another brand's design, and I would actually say that they're probably the same bumper plates. They feel the exact same to me. They're shaped in the same way, but they just have a different brand on them. So the bumper plates are a 450 millimeter diameter, but the 10s are actually a little bit smaller than that diameter. You won't notice it by just kind of looking at them, but if you place all your bumper plates on your bar or you just kind of stack them up together, then you will notice that the 10s are a little bit shy of that 450 millimeter mark. Now, the reason why you want that is so when you have the 10s loaded up with other bumper plates, the 10s don't make contact with the ground first. For example, I'm loaded up with a 45, a 25, and a 10. The bigger bumper plates make contact with the ground before the 10s, and that's gonna really save your 10s. Another thing that I really like about the 10s is that they're slightly thicker in width. And when it comes to actually measuring that out, I want to say that's probably 1 inch in thickness. Yep, it's exactly 1 inch in thickness, which is a very good thing. And it's got a very flat edge as well. Now, obviously, you don't want to be dropping your 10s, but if you were to drop them from time to time, these should hold up pretty well in comparison to something that maybe has a slightly thinner profile and more of like a pointed edge. Now, looking at the 45s, we've got 2 3/4 thickness. And then for the 25s, we have right under 2 inches. So fairly thin for the bigger plates, which is obviously something that you want, especially if you're somebody that deadlifts pretty heavy. You're probably gonna be able to get 4 or 5 45s on the bar with little issue. Definitely 4, and then you're gonna be able to get a collar, probably 5, but maybe no collar. Now when it comes to how these bounce, I found that they bounced very, very low. So these are a very dead drop or dead bounce bumper plate. When I was using them, I dropped them on my Olympic weightlifting platform that has 2-inch thick rubber tiles that will bounce stuff all over the place. When I was dropping these with 185 pounds on the bar, so just the 45 and the 25, I noticed that the bounce was probably right above my knee, which is very low for my actual platform. When I was dropping it on just my normal stall mats with about 155 pounds, which is just the 45 and the 10, it was right around my knee, which is also very good. And that makes collecting the barbell back up when you're doing like CrossFit style workouts actually more beneficial, since you don't have to be chasing the barbell all over the place. Now all these bumper plates are sized for an Olympic barbell, so they have a 2-inch opening, which fits very well on the barbell. There's not a ton of play side to side. Obviously, there's always going to be a little bit because of the way that the insert is beveled, but relatively speaking, it fits pretty flat on your barbell. And another thing with the inserts is that they are co-molded into the actual bumper plate, so you don't have to worry about them becoming loose and starting to rotate inside of the bumper plate. Now coming back to my original question, do you actually need a brand name when it comes to your own gym equipment? Now if you're at the affiliate level or you own a commercial gym, then it's probably a little bit more important because you have clients that you need to take care of and that might be more wowed by like the brand recognition. But when it comes to you working out in your own gym, it really is not that big a deal, especially since you're probably not gonna be going as hard on your own stuff as you would stuff that doesn't belong to you, say at the gym. If you're an influencer, you might care a little bit more to have nicer equipment because you're showing it off, but I gotta be honest with you, people don't really care what you're using to work out with unless you're somebody that is trying to like comment or do reviews on the actual gym equipment. For someone like me that has a ton of nice things, honestly, it doesn't make that much of a difference to me what I'm working out on. As long as it spins well, as long as it's comfortable to use, as long as it's durable enough. Like I don't go that hard on my own stuff, especially the equipment that I have here. The most that I'm gonna do with this stuff is drop it on a normal stall mat. I'm probably not gonna be throwing around outside and not dropping my 10s all crazy. And if that sounds like you, I think the Living.Fit equipment provides a very good value. The barbell is, I gotta be honest with you, very similar to other barbells out there that cost more. And then the bumper plates are damn near identical to some of the other bigger brands that you've seen out there. So if you have any questions about this stuff, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And as always guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.